Hey guys, and welcome back to Fairyland Tales, the segment of some magical story time where I read the Fairyland Tales series. It's now time for the 8th installment in that series, which will be New Child in Fairyland. It was a joyous time in Fairyland as Illyria and her half-blood husband Milton Keynes had just welcomed their newborn son Jack Keynes to the ever-growing fairy population. As he was the son of a pure-blood fairy and a half-blood, part man, part fairy, they had to register his blood status as a quarter-blood, the first of his kind at the Fairy Council Registry in Births. This made him a special child, as he may grow up with around 8 times the usual amount of fairy magic. This confirmed Milton's magic as a half-blood to be around 4 times that of a normal fairy. That afternoon they had a party to celebrate their son's birth, which lasted 2 days due to Jack being the son of Illyria and Milton. Made him the grandson of Chronica, Milton's mother, who in life was the Time Fairy, a job and title that he had inherited after learning she was his mother and she'd been executed for falling in love and having a child with a human, breaking one of Fairyland's most important laws. This was Jack's time magic developing, the family power passing on to him. Over the next 5 years, they brought Jack up as a fairly normal boy with Milton, while Milton trained him in how to use his brand of magic and when the appropriate time to use it was. After a few days, Jack started fairy primary school, whilst his parents returned to their jobs at the Fairy Council. Illyria worked in the Office of Fairy Education as their current Minister for the Education of Fairies. Including their new tertiary education program, which she created for the purpose of training newly graduated fairy school fairies in preparation for their future careers. So she served a double role as both MEF and the head of the tertiary education program, which was basically the University of Fairyland, which he set up within the safety of the Fairy Council. This now required the graduating class of secondary fairy education to sit and pass their new tertiary placement exam in order to determine their placement in her program. Milton worked for the Fairy Code Task Force as their guardian of time, which he'd already surpassed Chronica at. Jack was in the first year of primary fairy education and was already starting to show promise. Being mostly human meant he was growing at the same rate as a human. His fairy magic was his fairy genetics, which he only had a quarter of in his DNA, giving him around 8 times the usual amount of fairy magic. He already knew what his future career was going to be, and as destined by his brand of magic. It also meant he'd go through the same levels of education as a human would. For qualifying young fairies, the age to enter the tertiary education program was 345, and graduation would come 155 years later at 510. 2 years before their twinkling. He, however, would be 18 when he would enter either the tertiary fairy education program and graduate at 21, or he'd enter the Fairy Code Task Force Academy at 18 and qualify as an agent at either 22 or 23, depending on whether they would accept him into the Level 1 or Level 2 training course. Whilst pure-blood fairies twinkled at the age of 512, making them adults in Fairyland, he would basically just be considered of age at 21 as a human would. He'd already befriended a young twinklet named Wanda, who loved hanging out with him. And that was New Child in Fairyland. Stay tuned for the next story in this category. But until then, if you enjoyed this one, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching and have us a magical time.